Okay, I'm making this video to show what it's like to live with low vision. So this is how I would be able to read Cilium has. This is the original label by the company. To me, it's illegible because it's a light background and white lettering. The contrast is not there. It's kind of grayish background. And then the font also is a funny stylo Milo font. Like cartoon font or something. So yeah, so this Cilium has here is difficult for me to read, but here with a dark background and impact font, it's much clearer. So let me show you some other company labels. So this one, lemon, not very visible to me, although it's visible. It seems to be white on a gray background. This is beetroot, white on supposedly beetroot color lah, but it turns to me, because I have color vision deficiency, it looks like a light gray background. So the contrast is not there, not very visible. This one, okay, this is difficult for me because it's black text on a white background. Well, it looks black to me, it could be red. Well, it looks kind of grayish lah. So if it's inverted with a black background, it'll be clearer. So this one is clearer, spirulina, okay, white text, large, and clear font, bold. So this is how people should make labels, okay? Put whatever the contents is, big like this. Don't put your bloody brand name. Who fucking cares what your brand name? People interested in the content, what it is inside. Okay, this one, just green, also difficult to read. Okay, because it's on a white background. This one, oh, okay, that's the bottom of just green. Okay, this one, maca, not too bad. But if it were completely dark background, black, it'd be easier to read. But the font is bold and it's white, but the contrast not quite there because the background color should be darker. This one, darker background, acai berry. Okay, so this one not too bad, dark background. So this is one I did. Okay, goji, wolfberry. So black background, white, bold text, big, very easy for me to read. Okay, what else did I make? Yeah, I made this herb and spice. So actually I made two. Hang on, the back also has bigger, but the back not so easy because I made it too wide. This one is just nice. Okay, you can read herb and spice plus amla plus moringa plus pagaga plus what is this, mace plus Ceylon cinnamon. Okay, for some reason all the white text merged, the kerning is too near each other, so can't see. Okay, anyway, this is what do you call it, prunes. Okay, one more I made. Oh, I made a few more actually. Chia seeds. Okay, very easy for me to read when the font is like this. And then this one also I made. Cocoa plus chaat masala plus amla plus moringa plus pagaga. Okay, and this one is unsweetened cocoa powder. Okay, unsweetened pure cocoa powder. This one I made so that this is the original. See, very hard to read. They put white on a light gray background or beige or whatever with the outline in black. Not very clear lah. It says cocoa powder, but not immediately visible for me. Here immediately I know it's unsweetened cocoa powder. Okay, so that's what life is with low vision and low contrast, macular degeneration and photophobia.
Are you fat, sick, and nearly dead? Well, according to the data from the latest survey, 54.8% of Malaysians are In fact, the statistics are quite scary. So if you or any of your loved ones are in this high-risk category, don't despair. I have good news for you. I've written more than 30 books on nutrition, and you can download them all for free. The only limitation is you can only download 10 books per day from Z Library. However, you can download almost 2,500 books from my Telegram broadcast channel. I'll give you the link shortly. And if you're overwhelmed by 30 books, in fact, these 30 books, I've designed them so that they could cover the undergraduate syllabus of a nutrition or dietetics course, or the nutritional needs for a medical student. Anyway, if you think you're overwhelmed, you don't know where to start with this book. And then as you progress, you can, go deeper, take a deep dive into the other books. And if you want to meet me to discuss what you read in the books, you have a chance in September to do so. However, there are 5 places already been taken up, and there are limited seats. So the sooner you register, the sooner you'll reserve a place for yourself. Attendance is by donation. So details are in the following video.
How to attend Aislan Adnan's Meet the Author luncheon at the Hungry Tapir, 135 Petaling Street, Kuala Lumpur, short walking distance from the Pasar Seni MRT LRT station, from 12:30 hours, Saturday, 5th September 2026.
Step 1. Download all my 30+ books on nutrition for free from Z Library using this URL. However, there is a limit of 10 downloads a day from Z Library. The workaround is to download them, and 2,250 plus others, from my Optimal Health Community Telegram broadcast channel at EPUB Electronic Publishing. All my free ebooks are published in .EPUB electronic publishing format. If you are still living in the dark ages and only know .PDF, portable document format, and never heard of .EPUB, don't worry. You are about to have a mind-blowing experiential learning journey. If you use an Apple device, .EPUB files open in the Books app. If you are an Android user, use Universal Book Reader or a similar app. If you need further instructions on how to read .EPUB documents, just ask your favorite AI app to teach you. If you have never used an AI app before, start with Grok, Gemini, or ChatGPT. Then move on to DeepSeek, Claude, or Kling later.
Step 2. I have put all my books in the public domain, and you may share them freely. In fact, I strongly implore you to do so. Viralize them, make sure they reach every person who needs the knowledge contained in them. In Malaysia, the most recent data from the National Health and Morbidity Survey 2023 shows that 21.8% of adults are obese and 32.6% are overweight. This means the total combined rate is 54.4% of adults. Scary huge percentages of Malaysians are diabetic or suffer from other non-communicable diseases, NCDs. To be specific, in Malaysia, about 15.5% of adults have chronic kidney disease, CKD, up from 9.1% in 2011. Around 21.4% of adults aged 30 and above are at high risk of cardiovascular disease, CVD. Among older adults, about 8.5% have dementia, equating to roughly 260,000 people as of 2022. A nation is only as strong as its human capital. How strong can a nation be if more than half its population is fat, sick, and nearly dead? Of what good can you be to your family if you are fat, sick, and nearly dead? You owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
Step 3. Read the books. Follow whatever advice that makes sense to you. If something doesn't make sense to you, or causes cognitive dissonance, you can ask me clarifying questions on the 5th of September. Also, be prepared to report on the 5th of September what improvements in your health you have noticed. So far, one person has seen her total cholesterol level drop from always above 5 to 4.6. Another has resolved a chronic constipation issue. I have written 2 books on human stool classification and stool analysis. Another person who wakes up every morning with a white layer of mucus on her tongue for more than half her life now wakes up with a clear tongue. Step 4. Make the minimum donation by the required dates. The longer you prevaricate, the higher the minimum donation gets. Minimum donation per pax: 100 ringgit for donations received by June 30th, 150 ringgit for donations received by July 31st, 200 ringgit for donations received by August 31st, 500 ringgit for donations received by the 5th of September and for walk-ins. Places are limited. However, I do not wish to deprive anyone. If enough people register, we can take over the whole restaurant, so make your donations early to reserve your place. Purpose: your donations will go towards sponsoring persons with disability, PWD, to attend the event and also towards my various ongoing eye treatments. Sponsorship: if you run a business and wish to promote your business, you can sponsor door gifts, gift vouchers, or even cash.
About the author. Aslan Adnan, M.A., is a visually impaired writer and independent researcher whose work focuses on nutrition science, food systems, and the biological foundations of human health. His writing explores how natural foods contain complex compounds that interact with human physiology to support long-term well-being. He has a particular interest in plant-based bioactive compounds, including polyphenols, carotenoids, flavonoids, and other phytochemicals found in fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, algae, and fungi. His research examines both the roles these compounds play in plants and their potential impact on human nutrition when consumed as part of a balanced diet. Aslan writes with the curiosity of a scientist and the clarity of a cook. He approaches nutrition from a multidisciplinary perspective, drawing on biochemistry, plant biology, and public health nutrition. His work translates complex scientific concepts into clear, practical explanations that help readers understand the nutritional value of everyday foods. He is the author of several books exploring natural sources of antioxidants and other dietary compounds. Author of the Nutrient Series, Macronutrients, Volume 1, Carbohydrates, Macronutrients, Volume 2, Lipids, Macronutrients, Volume 3, Proteins, Micronutrients, Vitamins, Trace Elements and Minerals, Anti-nutrients, the hidden blockers in your food, Phytonutrients, the quiet power of plants, Water, the forgotten fourth, a macronutrient you can't ignore, Minerals and Trace Elements, Iodine, the element that built modern minds, one nutrient, one global experiment, one fragile victory. Iron deficiency, the hidden drain on your energy, a practical guide to detection, fixes, and long-term control. Nutrition for Vision, the science of seeing better. Author of the Antioxidant Series, Antioxidants in Herbs and Spices, Antioxidants in Algae, Microalgae, and Fungi, Antioxidants in Fruits and Vegetables, Antioxidants in Nuts and Seeds, Nutrient-dense natural foods for optimal health, Antioxidants in berries, plant pigments, polyphenols, and human health, Antioxidants in the animal kingdom, edible sources, biological roles, and human health. Other books on health and nutrition, Eat Whole, Whole Health Span, The Science of Plants, Fungi, Algae, and Feeling Awesome, 2nd edition. From Mother's Milk to Mighty Meals, a practical nutrition guide for 2 to 3 year olds. A Spoonful of Purple, The Story of Ribena, The Geometry of Mouthfeel, Tuberculosis Briefing Paper, 2nd edition, Aisland's 5-Powder Manifesto, Eating the Greek Way, How Cultural Habits Support Health Without Trying, Ideology on a Plate, How Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Turned U.S. Dietary Guidelines into a Scientific Farce, Maslow in 2026, Human Feces, Know Your Shit, Visual Acuity and Its Measurement. These works form part of an ongoing series exploring the chemistry, biological roles, and nutritional significance of bioactive compounds from whole food sources. With a Master's in International Business and Management from the University of Westminster and a postgraduate certificate in teaching from Royal Holloway, University of London, Aisland approaches every page like a classroom, breaking down complex ideas with precision and clarity so anyone can follow along. Building on this foundation, Aisland advocates a practical, food-first approach to nutrition. His work emphasizes whole foods, dietary diversity, and balanced eating patterns, rather than reliance on isolated nutrients or supplements.
How to make a donation. To donate, please scan the QR code found here. Or use the banking details found here.
Important note: include your phone number as the reference when making the bank transfer, as we may need to contact you in case of any last-minute changes. There is no need to write down your name, as it will automatically be displayed.
Important note: as a visually impaired person, VIP, I enjoy legal rights afforded to me by virtue of the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. This is a World Intellectual Property Organization (WIPO) Treaty on Copyright, adopted in Marrakesh, Morocco, on June 27, 2013. It establishes limitations and exceptions to copyright law to improve access to published works for people who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. It is commonly referred to as the Marrakesh Treaty or Marrakesh VIP Treaty 2013. The treaty entered into force in Malaysia on June 30, 2023, subsequent to the necessary amendments to the Copyright Act and the Printing Presses and Publications Act to comply with Malaysia's obligations under the Marrakesh VIP Treaty 2013. As a VIP, I have the legal right to import, export, distribute, edit, reformat, and modify copyrighted work without permission from the copyright owner. While distribute means I can freely give away copyrighted work to anyone I please, if you as the recipient are not a person with disability, you can only keep the work for your own personal use and may not share them with a third party. In Malaysia, unlike most other countries, the rights afforded by the Marrakesh Treaty are granted to all persons with disability, PWD, not just to the blind and visually impaired BVI community, and also granted to their caregivers and to those acting on the express instructions of a PWD.
Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.